Hey y'all, here we are, May 12th. This is the Tuesday workout coming at you. I hope you had a nice weekend. Here we are again. We're going to get straight into Tier 1 with the mobility, soft tissue, and stretching work, okay? So today we're going to use a double ball, some sort of double ball. And as I said before, whether or not you have a specific tool meant to do the job with soft tissue work or not, there are ways to find the same kind of essentially mobilization that we're going to go for today. So sometimes if you don't have a double ball, you can find a couple balls at home that you might have, like 2 tennis balls, tape them together or put them in a sock, or 2 baseballs, some sort of smaller ball, maybe 2 lacrosse balls, tape them together or put them in a sock and then tie the sock so that they stay wedged into the bottom of the sock. That totally works as well. Now the double ball that I have here are softer, okay? These are the tune-up balls. They have some give to them. Now this one, the Gemini here by Mobility Wad, this is extremely firm and smaller, okay? So it's gonna be a little bit more painful because it's gonna get into the tissue a little bit deeper because of its firmness. This double ball here is just bigger, so the area that we're gonna use it for, which is the thoracic spine, can be essentially extremely uncomfortable when using the double ball. Smaller balls tend to be tolerable for most of us. Sometimes the double ball that's bigger is just completely intolerable. I'll show you what they look like and I'll explain why one is more difficult than the other. But we're going to start with the small ball and we're going to get into, as I said, the thoracic spine. Now the thoracic spine is the part of the spine that lies right in the middle of your back, okay? The thoracolumbar area, okay? So the thoracic spine is 12 different vertebrae. So we're not going to work on every single junction in that vertebral area, but what we are going to do is find an area that's most uncomfortable for you, and then you're going to hold on that. So generally speaking, what you're going to find with the T-spine when you're trying to find it, and using that double ball, you're going to use the double ball to capture each side of the spine. That's the whole point of using a double ball for this. So what you don't want to do is go into your low back. So if I could find the bottom of my rib cage here, as I push into the lower parts of my sides, okay, you find where the rib cage meets its final rib, essentially. So it's right here, I'm at my bottom rib. Then if you go into the spine from that rib, okay, that's going to be the very last thoracic vertebrae, okay? So you want to go from this point up. And then below the neck. So if you're going to find, obviously, you know, what your neck is right here, and if you're going to grab the back of your neck, you would do everything below where your hand can reach and grab. And between those 2 points, the point that I can grab in my neck here, down, from here up, that's going to be the thoracic spine. So we're going to use the double ball, and we're going to search, and we're going to play with what is most painful for us there. Now, I know that there are typical areas that tend to be more painful for most people, but what you're going to do is just explore today, and you can kind of work your way up or work your way down. I'll give you some guidance. I'm obviously not going to go through the entire vertebral segment, as I already mentioned, but I'm going to show you how to get there. So the double ball is going to be placed right in that area. I'm going to go a little bit lower to begin with, okay, and then I'm going to recline back. Okay, now my hips and my shoulders are on the ground for this one, okay? Now what you'll notice is that my low back is actually arching off of the ground here. So you want to be mindful and not allow too much arching to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull my rib cage down in the front. So I'm almost doing like a crunch. As I do that crunch, it's going to push my spine into the double ball more. Then I'm going to hug my shoulders, really wrapping my arms around my shoulders like this. Then I'm going to pull my elbows up just a little bit. So with all these things happening, elbows coming up, arms wrapped around, rib cage staying down, not arching and pulling up like this. I'm exposing and really allowing the ball to get into that thoracic spine, which I've mentioned. And now once I'm here, we're going to really, this is especially important for this location, kind of like when we work on the psoas, it's extremely important to breathe here. And what you'll notice is that sometimes it's actually hard to breathe here because the diaphragm attaches and inserts on the spine behind in that thoracolumbar junction. So if you get the ball in the TL junction, which is somewhere in the thoracic spine, you may find, if you find that it's harder to breathe, you're like, oh, it's pushing the air out of me. That's because the diaphragm wraps around back there, and then that area gets really tight. You're not at any risk. It's actually really great for helping with breathing because you're releasing the tissue of the diaphragm at the same time. So it's really helpful in creating essentially mid-back mobility and also better breathing mechanics at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to maintain this position wherever you are, wherever you want to play with. Remember, you can pause the video before we move along, play with this, and if you want to go higher on your back, you push your hips this direction, obviously, so the balls will roll higher up your spine. Oh, and I just got a little pop. If your spine pops, that's okay. It's not dangerous. But when you find an area that especially pushes the air out of you, you can hear in my voice that it's beginning to push the air out of me a little bit better. This is really tight for me from surfing. This is the area I'm going to spend more time on right here. So I'll pull my elbows up. Notice my breath deep into my stomach. And if you focus on that breath, you'll notice the painful sensation will begin to go away because you're releasing the area. It begins to relax and is more tolerable. Now you can do a variety of things here. You can either find one spot that's really tender, really painful for you, that you need to work on a little bit more and spend around 2-3 minutes there, or you can spend more time going up and down the spine, up or down the spine, spending about 1 minute in each location, working on the breath in each location, and then you'll get more of a broad spectrum of that thoracic spine release. Personally, what I would do is just find the one that is most painful and most tender, and then just hang out there for around 3 minutes. That's what I like to do. But of course, this is important for you to discover what's best for your body. So I'm just your guide here. Now that's actually it for the soft tissue releasing. Now one reason why rolling the thoracic spine is important is because a lot of us are sitting at work, or at home or whatever, wherever you're sitting, and what happens is as we hunch over our work, the thoracic spine actually protrudes out. You might be able to see how my back rounds a little bit right here. The thoracic spine is the area that kind of begins to round and gets stuck in this rounded curvature. And you might even see this with people walking around on the street, that people get rounded backs as they get older, or just some people that have poor posture. This area will get super tight and junky and stuck in this rounded position, which is not good for the posture. We don't want that. We don't want to be in a rounded humpback spine position. Okay, that's not great for our bodies. It is not natural. Now, some people will have more rounded spine than others, which is fine. But generally speaking, if you see a rounded spine, or if you begin to hunch your shoulders forward and see yourself with a rounded back, we want to try to work on it with this specific rolling technique. And then by rolling the thoracic spine, it actually really helps us twist and rotate our body. So when I rotate my shoulders here, I actually engage and essentially, again, mobilize and activate my thoracic spine. So that's why we rolled it first, because now we're going to go into some twisting motions. And if we hadn't have rolled first, then the twisting wouldn't go as smoothly as well. Now this next position is going to be a kneeling position. Now, this can be quite tough on both the ankles and the knees. So pay attention to how this feels for you. I'll give you some variations in what you can use differently or what you can change for yourself if it's too uncomfortable. But what you're going to do is get on your knees and allow your toes to relax all the way out, and then you're going to sit back on your heels if you can tolerate it, like so. Now, even for me personally, there was a time I couldn't do this, And I actually can't do it very long just based on how my left knee feels here and how tight my ankles are. My ankles will actually start to get really sore as well. So you can use certain things like a pad under your ankles or a towel. Maybe you want to put a towel under your feet right where I have the blue pad. That helps with the ankle support. If the knees are too bugged, you can keep your toes under like this, sit back on your heels like this, and this will be a little bit easier on the knees, but it will be harder on the feet and the Achilles, which we've been in this position before. So find what is best for you, okay? Play around with it. If you have to shift and turn, change positions, then go ahead and do so. We're not going to be here for too terribly long anyways, but do what you got to do. Now, this exercise, or I should say stretch, is really a mobilization. Is from here, what we're going to do is really simple twist. So as I said, we're mobilizing our thoracic spine. So I'm reaching my left hand to my right thigh and kind of pulling my shoulders open. My right hand is reaching back behind me on the ground. And I'm just going to really gently pull my right shoulder back. Okay, the shoulder that's driving back, pushing on this left hand. And then I'm going to go back the other direction. And what you'll notice, at least I do, I can rotate to my right much better than I can to my left this direction. And if I was to face you, you may see how when I rotate to my right, I have pretty good range of motion. And I rotate to my left, definitely don't go as far. And when you're going back and forth like this, the best thing that you can do as far as the breath goes is inhale as you twist, exhale as you come forward, inhale as you twist. And how hard you pull with this hand is going to essentially determine how far you can twist and rotate back. But it's not meant to be super hard, super engaging or anything like that. It's just a mobilization, a stretching, activating warm-up. So that you're going to do 20 times, 10 each side. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 20. Okay? Now the last one that we're going to do is a position that you're familiar with at this point. We were in the lizard position last week with more of an activating exercise. Okay, we did it in the dynamic movement section with the shoulder car. Now a lizard pose, again, just for your reminder, is going to be here. So I start in a kneeling position. I put my hands down. I can slide my back knee back for extra stretch. Okay, so my hands are on the ground. And then if you're super mobile, maybe you put your elbows to the ground. This is a bit too uncomfortable for me, so I'm not going to hang out here. I'm going to hang out more on my hands. And I could walk my hands out a little bit wider to lower my chest down more, okay? But the main thing is just getting in this position, because from here what we're going to do is we're going to pull our back heel towards our butt to bend our knee. What this does is it slightly activates my hamstring, lengthens my quad. Okay? So we're getting an extra stretch in the thigh and hip as we pull the heel towards our butt. Then you're going to put it down. Then I'm going to rotate my left hand, which is closer to my forward leg, up towards the ceiling, which we've done before. And then I come down, and then I do the heel pull. Then I go down with the foot, then I rotate. So you're going back and forth like this. Heel pull, quad stretch, rotation, thoracic spine, and pec stretch. Now this one's going to get you really warm, okay? It's definitely an active stretch. Your body's warming up as we go along. So you're going to do 10 each there. You do heel pull, rotation, that's 1. Heel pull, rotation, that's 2. Okay, you want 10 of each on both sides as well. So make sure you get both sides. And then once you are done with that, you are done with mobility and flexibility for the day. We're going to move on to tier 2. If you're not moving on, congratulations for getting your mobility done, and I'll see you on Friday.